Good morning Year 6, or good afternoon, or whenever it is you are choosing to watch this video and do this lesson. We hope that you are really enjoying this escape room themed week as much as we are. Hopefully your puzzles from Mr. Kilduff went really well yesterday and you're ready to do a few more with me today. Before we go any further though, as all of our escape room puzzles that I am creating this week are themed around the book Evernight, if you haven't listened to the chapters on Repton Reads already, I would strongly encourage you go and do so. Otherwise, some of the things we're doing over this coming week may not make quite as much sense and you may not get as much of them out of it. We're going to create two puzzles today. Both the puzzles that we are creating today are extremely practical. In terms of maths and English and things, there's not too much put into today's puzzles. However, both of these puzzles require high levels of problem solving. Both of today's puzzles come in 2 or more parts, meaning that when they are hidden around the room that your participant is in, they will need to find them. If they just find one bit on their own, they're not going to know what to do. It's not going to make sense to them. And even if they do find the other bit, they've got to figure out how to work them together. Tricky. And because there's 4 bits for these 2 puzzles, they might get a bit from puzzle 1 and a bit from puzzle 2 and try and put them together. So although the puzzles may seem really simple while we're making them, I promise you that when your participant is trying to solve them, they've not got a chance. Well, they have got a chance. Otherwise, what would be the point? It'll be tricky. That's what we're going with, tricky. So remember, you have 4 choices to how you do this, as Mr. Kilduff explained yesterday. 1, you can just copy our puzzle, do it as we're doing it. 2, you can take our puzzle and adapt it to fit your theme, which I would strongly recommend doing. 3, you could use our puzzles as inspiration to help you come up with creative and new ideas, and you can then take, I don't know, the idea of Codebreak and apply it to a completely different situation. Or 4, you can research 2 different puzzles, completely of your own, and create them. Or why not try and come up with your own puzzle? There are your 4 options. Remember, whatever choice you do pick, it's really important that you adapt your puzzles to fit your theme. So if you're doing Harry Potter, make it something Hogwarts related, or the chessboard related, or you could do a chessboard one. That'd be really cool. Or make it some sort of monster, maybe you go down to Hagrid's hut, there's something going on there, the room requirement, possibilities are limitless. If it's a jailbreak, I'm sure you can come up with some way to incorporate it into that. So my puzzles today, one of them, the way I'm going to adapt it is I'm going to think about the way that I'm going to hide part of the puzzles, and part of it is going to be hidden in a potions-like jar. You'll see that in a bit because for Evernight, she's going to be looking to get the Doomsday spell. And the other one, you'll see how it links when we come to make the Codebreaker on Friday. But creative freedom is yours. Just try and make sure whatever your theme is, you're doing it to adapt to that. Otherwise, it won't fit into your escape room. All right, off we go. Our first puzzle is called a Skit-Owl. It is written like Skytale. It is an Italian puzzle, but a DIY version of an Italian puzzle. This is what your Skit-Owl puzzle will look like at the end. You basically use the toilet roll as a decoder, and you have a long piece of paper that you wrap around, and then as you can see there, the word 8 is on it, which is the number that we want to get out of it. So let's look at how it's made. So equipment we need today, we need a piece of A4 paper, we need a toilet roll tube, we need some scissors, although the scissors aren't necessary, they're helpful, a pen, thicker than a pencil preferably, and some sellotape will be helpful, but again, not completely necessary. First thing we need to do is fold the paper to create a nice long strip and then cut that out. I tear it, but however you do it is up to you. There we go. Now this is for the letters to go on. We're going to wrap it around our toilet roll to see if it's long enough. It's not long enough, and it actually, if you look at that, it's quite thick, and I'll only get 3 letters, 2, 3, thank you Dan Tans, there. So I'm going to actually half that. I'm going to make it a bit thinner. So again, I'm just going to do a fold down the side. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I would like my letters, I'd like to have more letters in it, rather than just 3, because not many numbers have just 3 letters in them. Let's try that. Is that better? Is that a lot thinner? Can I get more on there? It's quite fiddly. Oh, there you go. Yeah, I could probably get about 6 out of that. So now, because that's not quite long enough, I've actually got two parts here. So I'm going to put a little bit of tape on the end of these to put these together. Now, if you don't have a piece of tape, that is fine. Be creative, try and find a way to fasten the two together. I'm sure you can come up with something. It's a very fiddly one to do this as. I think I could be a hand model, you know. Done. So, toilet roll tube. This is how we're going to start creating the decoder. So draw a thin line, slightly diagonal, and write start on the top of it. Now what you'll notice here is that, oh sorry, this is where it will start. There we go. Done. Now what you'll notice here is I try and line this up. So I'm going to start trying to wrap it around, but actually I put it at too much of an angle, and if you see, that's not really staying on. It slides off. That's not the natural position. So what I do is I find a natural position. I hadn't planned to do this, by the way. This is just problem solving. I find the natural position. So fiddly. There it is. I draw an extra line there. And I make it into a block just to make it look intentional, colour it in like I meant for it to be like that. You will find lots of things go right and wrong in this, and that's absolutely fine. So wrap it all the way around. There we go. And then on each rotation of the paper, write a different letter. So I've got 5 bits here, so I knew the number 8 had 5 letters. Done them all in capitals on purpose, and you'll see why in a moment. If I'm being very critical of myself as well, watching this video back, I probably should have written them in a straighter line, but you can see where I'm going with it. Unravel. Now I've got a really long piece of paper, so I'm going to fill in loads of random letters. Because just getting this bit of paper, this is one of the clues they're going to pick up. They're going to be like, what on earth is this? So now, as you can see, I've fancied up my code breaker, just made it look a bit nicer, put some letters on it so that they know this has something to do with the long bit of paper. Wrap it round. And as you can see the word 8 there, which means the answer to this puzzle is 8. Boom. Done. Now to hide it, I'm going to put this in 2 different locations when I make my escape room. So I'm going to wrap it up nice and small, put a little bit of tape on the end so I can put it all together. And I'm going to put it in a jar I found because Evernight, Shadow Jack is trying to find a Doomsday spell. I put it in a spell-like thing. I just found it in the house. So I'm going to hide the toilet roll tube and I'm going to hide the other one. Boom. Done. Right, hope you enjoyed that puzzle. Time for puzzle 2. Okay, for our second one, we're going to use our knowledge of coordinates. You will need a piece of paper. You will need a ruler. You will need a pen and a pencil. So like I said, we're going to use our knowledge of coordinates to display our number here. And then we're going to hide the coordinates around the room. So I've created a coordinate grid as you see in front of you. I made this myself and I'm going to show you very briefly how I made it without actually making it. So I measured along the side, I counted in 2 centimeter intervals as you can see here and just put a mark on each of those. You should be able to count up in your 2 times tables. I did the same on the other side as well. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, etc, etc, etc. This is so that when I drew the line in between, I knew it would be as evenly matched up as possible. Obviously this ruler doesn't fit, I used something else. Did the same along the other side. It wasn't a multiple 2, as you can see one bit's a little bit bigger, that's fine. You can kind of see there, yeah, the intervals I made. Yep, drew down there. That's how we do it. Perfect. So, next on my X, my Y axis. So the X axis, the one at the bottom, I've put letters, and on my Y axis, along the side there, I've done numbers. So, to start off with, roughly and very lightly, so you can figure out where your coordinates are going to be, mark them on your grid. So I am, do you know, I'm not going to tell you what number I'm on here, I'll let you figure it out. I'm just doing little circles so I know what coordinates I'm creating. Wonder if you can figure out what the number is. Yes, you're right. No, do you know what? I'm not going to tell you. You can wait to the end. You can figure it out. So, they are my coordinates there. I've done them on the vertices, on each vertex. So remember, a vertex is the mathematical name for a corner. I counted, I had 12 there. So now I'm going to make the cards that the coordinates are hidden on. So like I briefly spoke about earlier, this is how I made the square paper. For this one, I think I did 3 centimeters because I wanted the cards to be a little bit bigger. So you mark along each side, count along in 3s. I had to use a book there because I didn't have a ruler that was 30 centimeters. But it worked just as well because I'd already measured it. The reason this is really helpful is because when you go wrong, which you'll see I do in a minute, it's easier. So I look at my coordinates. I go, right, I've got I6 there because remember we go along our x-axis before our y-axis. So I've got I, comma, 6. And underneath that on my little card that I'm going to hide around the room, I put 1 as a slash 12. So this is 1 of 12. Etc, etc. That way they know if you put the number at the bottom, so 1 of 12, 2 of 12, it will help them figure out when it comes to drawing lines between them. Also lets them know how many that they need to look for. If you notice, I just put a cross through one when I got it wrong. And that's why I made so many spare. It's really careful obviously because if you don't get it right in doing this, they're never going to get it right. Then you cut them all out. So like I said, I'm going to hide these around the room. So while they're doing the escape room, they're going to need to find these and I'm going to leave the grid in their pack for them to get. So then they get all of these. They go, oh, I wonder what these are. And then they mark the coordinates on the grid, as I'm about to now when they found all 12. So remember, you're prompting them. That's really important they do it on the vertices. Now hopefully if they've done this, they shouldn't need to draw any lines if you've done it properly and they should see a number. Can you see it there? And then they may want to join them to help them figure out what that number is. So this is the number that they're going to need for Friday's Codebreaker. For this puzzle, which is puzzle 3, they will need the number 6. Brilliant. Hopefully you can now go off and make that puzzle. What I would do if I were you is I would go back over that video if you haven't made it already and pause it after each stage. Thank you for joining us today, and you're going to have Mr. Kudoff tomorrow who's going to teach you how to do another 2 puzzles. Have a nice day. See you later. Bye.